This build project is a bench design that can be a challenge for your students. If you want them to produce something that looks like quality furniture when they're done, they can make it out of 2x4s. That's just about the only material that's in this bench, but they can produce something that has a sort of a complex or designer look to it. That would be this bench. Here it is in perspective here, and what you see is a center arm that's placed. That was the request of a park that wanted several of these installed. This piece is optional. You can leave it out, have a continuous bench, or this arm can move to either side of the bench to produce a more traditional bench. It also can be narrower if you wanted to make more of a single person sort of, or a love seat design. The parts are called out with letters typical to a lot of our plans. Here is a side view of that bench. So you see some of the angles that have to be cut into this bench. That's what makes it comfortable, and I think what makes it look really good. Some of the parts, like this back brace piece, carries all the way down to the base here. And then all the way up to the top, you have two cuts that have to be made in this end. So this becomes a challenge for students, especially if they've not done angled cuts before. So make sure before they take on this project that they are prepared for what they're doing. This is a lot of very fine miter saw work and a lot of focus on details. Your parts list is called out per letter and even a count for each one of those parts, so they can look at this to produce the parts. We were making so many of these benches because they were so popular. We had created templates for all of the pieces, and the students were tracing those templates and then trying to match those angles with the miter saw. I think this was also good practice for training students on how to set or how to read an angle, first of all, then set the miter saw to it, and then match the blade to that line, keeping in mind your kerf and all of that. So a lot of cuts to some of these pieces. This piece here would have 1, 2, 3 cuts to it just in itself. So the challenge for cut practice is huge here, or the opportunity for them to learn. On this page, all of these parts are spelled out, their location on the bench and the count of those parts, as well as giving them a name to help them understand what they're producing. I mentioned this is all 2x4s, but there is one piece here, which is your armrest, the top of your armrest, that was made of a 5/4 by 6 deck board. That's the only variation in materials. We were making these for a park. I mentioned that before. They had requested redwood 2x4s or redwood lumber for the materials. So we had to practice with the students on standard lumber before we would turn them loose on that very expensive material. All in all, it was a very successful project, very comfortable, lightweight, a challenge for students to build, and it produces a high quality bench aesthetic. So I hope that makes sense. Check out this and our other resources in our catalog. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.